Hey everyone, this is Ian Miller,
What's going on, guys? It's Andrew.
and welcome back to another episode of Media Talk with Miller and Smith. Tonight we actually have two topics to get through, so let's get to it.
As you can see, everybody, my mic is working, so thank God. Finally fixed it. So hopefully it stays through the episode. So let's give it a shot.
Yeah, we have two reviews to do tonight. The first review is coming from Broadway. As many of you know, we saw the last 5 years over at Hudson Theater with Nick Jonas and Adrienne Warren. Yeah, it was quite something, let me tell you. For those of you not familiar with the show, it is actually a story that explores a 5 year relationship between the lead characters, Jamie, played by Nick Jonas, and Kathy, played by Adriana Warren. But it's very unique, whereas Jamie's version of the story is told in chronological order, Kathy's is actually told in reverse.
hmm
So, what were your initial thoughts, Smith, on this?
Um, I thought it would. I thought they both did a wonderful job. Um, you know, Nick Jonas, is Nick Jonas. Um, but no, Nick Jonas is he did a great job. Also, she did a tremendous job. You know, they both have really great voices. So the musical numbers they did were really really good, and I did feel the chemistry between them. You know,
Yeah,
I felt there. As the show went on, um, I did feel that chemistry, and then when there was all this, all the emotions, all the heartbreak, all the sadness, I could just feel, or I could see, like, how they were feeling, you know?
yeah, it's quite incredible. Here's the playbill for you guys. But it's quite incredible. In this opening song, "I'm Still Hurting," you can
hmm
really feel Kathy's pain through every single lyric, and
You do.
Andrea did a fantastic job. I can see why she wanted Tony playing Tina Turner. I can see why because
Yeah.
she's that good. She's got such a great voice, great presence, and with every single note, you can really feel the emotions the character's going through.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're both, you know, trying to, let's just say they're both trying to focus on their careers, Jamie's trying to, focus on his book that he wrote and all these signings and everything that he's on, and she's trying to she's struggling to try and be an actress, and
Yeah,
she's trying to find um she's trying to find herself to be an actress while trying to build this relationship with Jamie also.
yeah, and it's not easy. I think any relationship, is not easy because it is a two-way street. And yeah, there gonna be times where you're gonna be clashing, and what the problem is, I think, with this relationship was they were not communicating, and that's a key part. Yeah, as always, communication is key in a relationship, and yeah, I understand that careers get in the way, but again, you you can't lose track of the relationship first because that's your partner, that's your big support system here, and yeah, both were trying to be very supportive of each other's careers, but one was clearly being more successful and the other one wasn't. And in terms, Jamie was being more successful because he was a writer, he's being a successful writer, and he gets caught in the glamour of it all, going to extravagant parties. And Kathy is, trying to be an actress. And throughout the the show, you could see her trying, at many auditions, and some are successful. She gets some callbacks, but others, she's either trying too hard or nervous,
Hmm.
which is very typical of young actresses, auditioning for these type of roles because again, she's in this couple's in the Big Apple, they're New York City,
Hmm.
so they're trying very hard. And once in a while, we see her doing something in Ohio with a small theater group.
Yeah.
So it goes back and forth through her telling of the relationship in reverse. But yeah, I was just taken back by the performances. I thought they were very strong, and this is only two people. You know,
Hmm.
it's a lot of pressure to put on two performers just in this one story, but they managed to pull it off.
Yeah. No. 100%. They did. The sets, the lighting. Um, just everything about it. It was. They really did a tremendous job. Um, you were talking about like struggling in a relationship and communication is key. But there was also one part in the show where Nick Jonas's character Jamie. I think you have to remind me of the song. It escapes me right now. But he's talking about, or yeah, Nick Jonas's character is talking about giving into temptation. Um,
Oh yeah,
I think it was the next 10 minutes, wasn't it?
yeah. It was next time I met you.
Yeah, I think that was the song that it was. But yeah, it was called the next 10 minutes. And it was pretty much about he, he was talking about like giving into temptation. It's really hard to give into temptation you know when you're in a relationship, when you're even married.
No, yeah, no. It wasn't. There wasn't that next time it was actually the Shamould song. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. I apologize, folks, if I'm not
Okay.
pronouncing that right. But it was that song.
Okay. All right. I
It was,
apologize.
yeah, I remember that now.
Okay.
And yeah, it is hard to give into temptation, especially when you're just married.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, especially when you're a successful book writer. Going on all these tours and clubs and stuff like that, um, signings. You're gonna have a lot of fans, and you know, I think that's what he was struggling with throughout the show, like giving into temptation and trying to fight it. But
Yeah, yeah, it really is quite something. And she's being very strong. She's trying to hold everything together, but
mhm,
it just doesn't work out. And you the whole show, even though you know what happens in the end, you
yep,
know, because you're hearing it from Kathy's point of view in reverse, but the whole time you're rooting for these two. You want them to make it, but unfortunately, it just doesn't work out that way, which is sad. And it's also kind of quite brutally honest because a lot of times the relationships, they don't last.
no, they don't.
Yeah, so this was definitely a great show, very well written, very well acted, and the music was phenomenal. And as we know, folks, we love the Hudson Theater. We stay for the leg room. They have
Yeah,
incredible seats. I mean, come on. What was interesting was about the staging this time because it's very limited. The sets very limited because again, it's a very small stage. If you've ever been to the Hudson Theater, it's a very small stage. So they got very creative. You see, a couple of apartment entrances on the right side of the stage,
hmm,
and you see the city background in miniatures in the back.
yeah,
You see a little bit of Jamie's writing desk. stuff like that. But what was clever was where they put the orchestra. Because in the past productions, we've seen the orchestra either in the back, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
or just off to the side. What was clever was they actually put it up. They
Yeah.
put it on, they built a balcony and they put it
Yep.
up on the stage where you could see the orchestra. So that was very clever.
That was yeah. No, that was very well done. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I really can't say enough good things about this performance. And the sad thing is, it's actually going to be ending its 14-week run, which is coming up, I think, on June 22nd.
This month, yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we'd like for it to get extended. But if it doesn't, I mean, it's still a great show all around. If you haven't seen it, we both recommend you to go see it before it ends this month.
yeah. And it's also great lessons to learn from it as well, especially for those who are in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Obviously, don't base it on your own relationships. Again, that's your own thing. All
Yeah.
right. But the key really is communication, folks. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, no matter where you are in your job, whether you're, a struggling actress or, a successful businessman, successful book writer, um, anything being successful, you just this show just showed us, um, yes, relationships are hard, but if it's if if you want to try to work it out with with the woman or partner that you love, you have to try and commit. And you have to try and make it work for both sides. Otherwise, you know, it'll just happen the way this show happened.
And the thing is, don't ever settle. Don't ever settle. Because if it's not right today, it's not going to be right tomorrow. So you have to really make sure that the person that you want to be with is the person you want to be with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Nick and Adrian, if you're watching this, you guys did a
Yeah.
tremendous job. A really great job.
Yeah. You guys were fantastic. We loved your performances. And yeah, that's all we can say. We love the show. So the last 5 years is playing at the Hudson Theater uh, from now until June 22nd. So if you haven't seen it yet, go and see it today.
Yes. Also, I want to thank the Hudson Theater for giving us the seats that we had during the performance. Usually we sit on the balcony, which is, it's great. Also, great view.
Absolutely.
Anywhere in that theater, like we've talked about in past episodes. Anywhere in that theater is just not really a bad seat anywhere, but
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
just comfortable. It really
it's
is
very
comfortable.
comfortable.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I really need a leg room, folks. I really need a leg room because now that I'm getting my 30s, I'm like, I can't fit in those very narrow seats anymore. I can't. I just can't.
yeah, but no, thank you. And sitting down there kind of felt like we were in the show with them. So
Yeah, that's always a nice feeling. Oh, I did want to say that there actually was a movie adaptation to this.
hmm
It was released in 2014
hmm
with Anna Kendricks and Jamie Jordan. For those of you who know Jamie Jordan, he was actually in Supergirl.
yes, and I'm sure a lot of you know Anna Kendrick. um,
The
Talented
Pitch
actress,
Perfect movies, yeah,
perfect movies, talented actress.
great singer.
Yeah, I myself haven't seen it. I would definitely check it out though, the movie, and
Yeah,
see how it is. But I will. That is definitely on my list to check out.
absolutely. So, last 5 years at the Hudson Theater. So, On to our second subject. Mr. Smith, sh- shall we light the fuse?
Let's do it.
That's right, folks. We're going to be talking about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, starring Tom Cruise as the IMF agent Ethan Hunt. Okay, I know you guys saw our after theater reaction. I can clearly see the views from it, and we thank you for that, by the way.
Yes, thank you. We really appreciate it.
Where do we begin with this movie? We got to actually start at the beginning.
I was actually just thinking that all his missions, everyone that Ethan's met, kind of just led all up to this,
Yeah,
as they say.
30 years. 30 years, my God. Oh my God.
First one released in 1996.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna spoil, some of the movie. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to keep watching this video. But if you haven't seen Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning yet, please stop watching. Okay, time's up.
Okay. All right.
So, Final Reckoning is the second part to the previous installment, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning,
Mm-hmm.
Part 1. So this is technically Part 2 of the same story, but they changed it to Final Reckoning because this would be the final mission. Okay, so don't say that. Don't say that. He said it. Tom said in the thing where
Yeah.
this is the end.
It's not called the final for nothing. So
Yeah. So let's just table that discussion for another episode.
go on.
Okay. So when we last left off, Ethan and his team had actually had the complete cruciform key to the AI known as the entity's source code, which is located on the Sevastopol submarine.
Mm-hmm.
So this is now literally an arms race for governments to grab a hold of the entity and control it for their own purpose. But other outside forces are after the entity as well, especially the mysterious man known as Gabriel. The film takes off from there, and it takes us into very shocking, discoveries, as well as unexpected turns. Some sacrifices are made, so you're gonna see a couple of people that you grew to love over the years die. Again, I'm not gonna say who it is or who they are, but yeah, it's quite shocking. And as we said in the previous episode, there is not a moment, there's not a minute wasted in this movie.
Yeah. I'm. There's a lot of reports, a lot of videos out there where, even with this movie that, in the first 30 minutes to an hour, there's nothing going on. It's boring. It's, no action involved. Look, I mean, even if there's no action involved, you're still on the edge of your seat with them talking. I mean, with this movie, I didn't see a boring part of this movie. I mean, not one. Yeah, there was no action till, probably like after the first hour, or a little bit before that. But I was still on the edge of my seat, even when events were unfolding and there was no action in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the dialogue alone, it's very sharp because, again, the stakes have never been this high before.
Hmm.
Because you got the whole world battling an AI. This
Yeah.
is this is this is war games times 1,000. And war games was from 1984. So it means the AI has gotten smarter. It's gotten the technology is more sophisticated. So yeah, and as Benji had said in the previous entry, well, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah, this is an enemy that they have not faced before. Um, so it's challenging for Ethan to try and get, you know, in front of the end, like in front of the entity, like because as Ethan says in the movies, in these two movies, the entity knows, and Gabriel said it, um, the entity knows the moves you're going to make before you do.
It's four-dimensional chess,
Yeah.
which is something that Luther says in Dead Reckoning Part 1. And it's true. It's true. Because when you battle against a computer, you have to try to anticipate their moves.
Hmm.
And that's very hard to do that. And those of us who play video games, we play against the computer all the time. And again, they're trying to anticipate your moves, so you have to go on do the opposite of what you would do naturally. So you have to think, okay, the computer thinks I'm going in this direction, so I have to go in the opposite direction
Yeah.
to try to cut it off guard. But it's not easy with the entity.
No, it's not. I mean, Ethan has to try in this movie. Ethan has to try and find a way to. He has to try and find a way to do something where the entity, you know, doesn't know what he's doing or what he's thinking. Um, he has to be one step ahead of it, even though it's pretty challenging for him to do that. But you know, as I said in the second movie, it's not mission difficult; it's mission impossible.
I was actually watching that earlier today.
Yeah,
And it's true. And just the journey, and this is another odyssey, really, because he is on a journey.
yeah.
And what's great about this movie is there are a lot of callbacks to the previous movies.
Hmm.
Specifically, there are some, story ideas that you can get from the previous movies. Again, I'm not going to tell you what they are because, I'd rather have you guys rewatch all seven of the previous entries just because, well, they're fun. They're
Yeah.
great movies. And B, I want you to pay specific close attention to any of the story details when you go in to see Final Reckoning after you've watched 1 through 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are two specific scenes in here that really stood out for me. Not not just plot wise, of course. There is Tom Cruise underwater.
Oh yes.
I have to ask, how much punishment do you think he put his body through just to do that stuff?
How didn't he like hold his breath for like 6 minutes or something? From what I
Oh,
read.
was this in? I thought this was in Rogue Nation when he did that, but I was
Was
talking
it?
about this
No,
when he
no, I
was.
know. I thought it was like he held his breath for like 6 minutes or something when he did this scene, but I could be wrong.
Uh, yeah, because I've never done this before, folks. So I don't know the exact rules or anything, but
Yeah.
doing the decompression alone, just to get your body used to breathing the oxygen, in the suit, and this is a specially designed suit because this is for deep, cold water.
Yeah.
So this is to make sure that your body temperature doesn't, hit a certain the certain temperature when you're in the water. Because once you do, your lungs start to freeze up. It's difficult to really hold your breath and all that. Then your arms, you get the shakes. you know, and then your brain dead. So I'm like, okay, this has to be a very controlled environment. And, Tom, Mr. Stuntman, he understands, safety regulations as every production does that has to do with stunts.
Yeah.
But the problem is, no matter how prepared you think you are, no matter safety tests you do, something always goes wrong.
Always.
Yeah, and accidents do happen. But we didn't hear any accidents on this one, which we were relieved for. But we get very, very scared for Tom's life. I mean, for God's sakes, the he's done so many crazy stunts over the years, broken some bones. Not as much as Jackie Chan has broken his bones. But
Yeah.
Jackie's broken his bones twice. He's broken every bone in his body. Tom, not so much, but still, you're like, oh my God. Let's not forget the when he was running in Fallout, and he's doing the jump from one bone to another, and you see his leg go in an
Yeah.
opposite direction.
Hmm.
And I'm like, legs are not supposed to go there. Legs are not supposed to move like that. I remember I looked at the behind the scenes footage. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, you could.
And yeah, it's
Not,
in the
yeah.
shot. It's in the shot.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell a little bit, like when he gets up from the building, you can tell, like in the movie, he's limping,
Yeah.
like in that small shot.
Yeah, another thing, when he did Mission 3, the bridge attack scene, and he's running to avoid the missile, he actually cracked his ribs hitting the car.
Of course he did.
Yeah. Then I'm not sure if he tore his shoulder doing Mission 2 when he's, jumping from one, side of the mountain to the other
Hmm.
in the opening sequence. And he's holding on like that. Like, I'm told, I think he tore something, but I can't swear to that.
And let's not forget, in Ghost Protocol, he climbed the highest tower.
Yes. Undamaged, as I recall.
Yeah.
Then in Rogue Nation, he's hanging off the side of an airplane as it's coming, taking off the tarmac.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you gotta be crazy. You gotta be crazy to do something like this. It was mind boggling. It was complete mind boggling. I was like, oh my God. But nothing prepared us for what happened in the airplane sequence in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we know he's flied planes before because
Yeah.
Top Gun.
Yeah, well, he's also an accomplished pilot,
Yeah.
So he knows about those regulations and the safety, that goes into preparation of these type of stunts. But still, when you're watching it on the screen, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, what he does in this plane scene is just how he was able to hang to on the plane. I mean,
Yeah,
without giving too much away, there are plane stunts in the movie, and as we were watching it, well, I don't know what my co-star was thinking, but I was thinking like how is he holding on to this plane right now? Like how is he even doing this at this point?
I was afraid for his life, if I'm being honest. I was really afraid for his life. I was like, Jesus, he's really going through this. And what was interesting was there was a sequence in that scene was where he's kind of, just floating, in between, the wings of the biplane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is like, like zero G gravity. I was like, oh my God. Because they were going, that fast and that,
Yeah.
that height. I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, is this for real? I know he's got a harness somewhere, but is this for real? That he's just floating up there like that in between the wings? I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. And also like talking about like stunts and everything. Um, I don't know if you knew this or I don't know if you read this. I read this a couple days ago. You remember, there's this fight scene in the beginning of the movie, or like I forget what the time length was, 20 minutes into the movie, maybe something like that, where it's Tom and Haley Atwell being captured
Yeah,
um, by Gabriel. Um, and the interesting part was during that scene, Haley was actually 8 months pregnant at the time.
I did not know this. I did not know this. That's a gutsy lady, because doing that 8 months pregnant, you're like, wow.
Yeah, I mean the crew. Well, I think it was Christopher McQuarrie or the crew actually wanted her to take a seat. Not do any of the fight scenes in that movie. They wanted her to take it easy, but she actually wanted to do it.
Yeah, like I said, very gutsy lady. It was like
Yeah.
with It's like with Scarlett Johansson when she was pregnant during the making of Avengers: Age of Ultron. She
Hmm.
wanted to do as much as she could in camera, and I was like, wow, that that just goes to show you the dedication. These two women were going to do,
Yeah.
especially in very different circumstances.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, um, I just have so much respect for them.
Yeah,
Especially Haley and Scarlett, like you said, but especially in this movie, she just it shows you how committed she is, how hardworking she is. She wanted to finish what she started and just do the fight scenes on her own.
yeah. Again, not easy,
Right.
and I have the huge amount of respect for her. Well, as you saw for the other video, got a bit of a crush on her. So, Haley, if you're watching, I'm sorry that having a fanboy moment right now. I'm sorry. No, but she's terrific. Another one was terrific was Angela Bassett.
Yeah.
She was playing the president of the United States in this story, and holds back a lot in her performance on this because she's not coming at this as just as a president, but she's coming at this as a mother.
Hmm.
She wants to protect her son at all costs, so she holds back her part of her emotion in a lot of scenes, and I know it's not easy, but she
Yeah.
does it so flawlessly, because she has
Does.
this. She is the commander in chief in this, and I'm like, God, you should have won another Oscar for Black Panther. I mean, she was robbed. She was really robbed.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell in this movie, when you all go see it. Um, you mentioned that she was the president in this movie. So really, in this movie, she has to really decide. Like, she knows she has to put the country first, but she also knows Ethan is the guy to get this job done and to stop the entity. So she's
Yeah,
pretty much torn in between, trusting Ethan and letting him do what he does, or you know, putting the country first and you know struggling with, can Ethan stop the entity in time before she has to make major decisions for the country.
yeah, absolutely. And we're not gonna tell you what happens, but
Yeah,
because we want you to see it.
yeah,
But yeah, she's just fantastic. The whole cast is fantastic. There was definitely a couple of surprises that I didn't see coming. Obviously,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Again, we're not gonna tell you about this character too much, but the Briggs character, was played by Shea. What's his last name? Wiggum.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shea
he's
Wingham.
an, yeah, he's another good actor, and he holds back a lot, in his performance. But there's a reason why he has hostility towards Ethan in particular. Again, we don't want to tell you.
Yeah. For all of you Fast and Furious fans out there, you have seen him in at least 3 or 4 Fast and Furious movies. So he is in those as an FBI agent. He worked with Paul Walker a little bit in the show before he passed in the movie. Sorry, before he passed. Um, but yes, we won't give too much away. But you, all we will say is that there is a little. You can see why he's trying to stop Ethan from what he's doing.
Yeah,
Why he doesn't fully trust Ethan.
exactly. And we do have to talk about the heart and soul of the films. I want to talk. I'm talking about Ving Rhames as Luther and Simon Pegg as Benji, because they are the heart and soul of these movies.
Yeah, I mean, Ving Rhames came in the first one, so he's been in it from the very beginning. And Simon came in the third movie.
Yeah, and he got a huge upgrade in character development, man. Because when they put him on the field, being part of the action, I was like, yeah, this is exciting. Because Simon's another good actor.
Yeah,
I was a fan of his. Watching Shaun of the Dead. And other stuff like that.
and oddly enough, um that's why JJ casted him in the third movie because he saw Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, and it was a great casting. But yeah, Benji obviously had changed through the course of the movies, and he realizes that the most important thing to him is his friends because they're also his family.
Yeah, throughout the movies, you can actually see you know Benji grow as his character. From him being what was it, a lab tech or a
Yeah,
forensic guy, into this reliable, loyal field agent that, Ethan can count on and, um, trust his life with.
absolutely. It is fantastic, and Haley Atwood being part of the team, great addition, and the French assassin was quite a nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. That, yeah, I mean, if you saw her from the Dead Reckoning, you can see how much of a good fighter she is.
yeah. Or if you ever watch any of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, yeah,
Yeah.
she's fantastic as well. Another big fan of hers as well. So yeah, there's a lot of great things about this movie that we could definitely spend hours talking about.
Yeah. One more character that I'd like to acknowledge. He does come back for these movies. He did start in the first movie. Um,
Uh,
Not a big fan. Uh, Great actor. Um, my co-star doesn't like him either. He wanted to punch him in the face. Um,
no. Kid Rich, I did want to punch in the face, but it was Gabriel I really wanted to smack.
no, true.
Because he kept, yeah, because we'll go into that in a second, but yeah, the actor playing Kid Rich Henry, wow,
Yeah. No, Kittredge, plays that character really well, and he wants that power. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. He wants the entity, but you if you see this movie, you'll find out why.
yeah, he should have been fired. He should have been fired from his job. Okay, I'm just saying he should have been fired years ago because he's horrible. He's bad at his job. He doesn't see, the greater good. He just wants power. He wants to control the truth and all that. I'm like, where are you from? Where are you from? This is not the Cold War. You are just in another world, dude. You're in another world. but Henry plays it so well.
He really does. He does.
Yeah, it reminds me of the character they played Ritter in Clear and Present Danger with Harrison Ford's Jack Ryan, because
Yeah.
again, power again, and I'm like, these CIA directors should have been fired. Both of these guys should have been fired because, A, they have no moral compass whatsoever, no moral ethics,
Yep.
and B, they don't care, if the person they lead, in the battle lives or dies.
I mean, to be honest with you, I really don't think Kitchers would have cared if Ethan died,
No,
to be honest.
considering how many times he saved his ass,
Mm-hmm.
saved the world,
Yeah.
and I was because it was very clear when you saw the opening of Dead Reckoning saying, "I use you be, because you're still of use to me," and I was like, "Wow, this is how you value human life." Jeez. But again, he's in another league of his own. He's trying to control everything.
Yeah.
He's the director of the CIA, so he's like, okay, that's fine. I miss Alec Baldwin. I miss Alec Baldwin as a secretary. He was great. He was great.
He was good.
Yeah. But yeah, I really wanted to punch Gabriel multiple times, and the actor plays it so well.
He does. He does. He's actually up there with the villain Philip Seymour Hoffman played in the third movie.
Yeah, we said that in the last
Yeah,
episode,
we
but
did. Yeah.
yeah, but with Philip Seymour Hoffman, I didn't want to punch him as much as I wanted to punch Gabriel.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't seen Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, I recommend you watch it now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely go see it. You will not regret it. Like I said, it is an edge of your seat movie from beginning to end. And when we went to the theater was almost full or about
Yeah,
full.
yeah,
So this is really what we've been talking about the past few episodes. Why these movies and going to the theaters is so important. It's fun,
yeah,
It's entertaining. These are the kind of movies you want to see on the big screen.
yeah. And you want to experience it with an audience because I gotta tell you, for the first time in a couple of years, we actually heard the audience applaud. We applaud with them. You know how rare that is
hmm
nowadays? Because we take it for granted, that we're seeing a lot of stuff on streaming, including movies in the theaters
Yeah,
that are showing up on streaming. We take that for granted. And I'm like, no, get out of the house. Go see a movie in a movie theater and experience it with a big audience. Or better yet, go to a Broadway theater, see see this little thing before it closes, and experience this with a big audience. Because again, you'll be guaranteed a good time in either instances.
exactly.
So yeah, when you get the chance, go see the last 5 years of Nuts in theater and go see Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Because again, in either cases, you won't be disappointed.
No, definitely not. You'll have a fun time. You'll enjoy every minute of both shows. Just go see it. Get out. You know, just do something fun. Go see these stuff. Go see these
Yeah,
movies.
go see
Go
these movies. And we're definitely going to be seeing Mission again at some point.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Yeah. We're obviously going to give you some updates on the next Broadway show we're going to see. We'll let you know. And we're going to be excited about the movies that are coming out this summer because this is the summer of movies.
Yeah. Got 3 movies coming up next month. So we will keep you all updated on that. But the first one we will see is Jurassic World Rebirth.
That's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy. Well, I think that's going to be it for us tonight, right?
I think so.
Oh, and as always, if you or any members of your movie audience have been, not seeing the movie, or seeing the movie, the secretary will disavow all your actions. This episode will self-destruct in 5 seconds. I'm Ian Miller,
I'm Andrew Smith.
and this has been Me at Talk with Mel and Smith. Have a good night, folks.
Good night, guys.
If you'd like to follow us on YouTube, just hit that like button and subscribe.